Hey folks, Closing Designs here, and this is part 8 of the Tamiya 1/32 scale F-16 Fighting Falcon build. Well folks, this is going together like Lego at this point. We've done quite a bit since the last video, and it's just getting kind of like easier and easier as it goes. Obviously when you first start the model, you're dealing with a lot of internal parts, and for the most part those parts are small, and it takes a lot of time and shaping them, cutting them, and painting them, things like that. And as you work your way out, the parts get bigger with the pylons and the wings and such like that. So, as you go, it seems like it's getting easier, I guess, but the parts get bigger. So it's, we're really coming along here. So, we're going to get into what we've done since the last video. But before we do, I wanted to make a little shout out to Cal. He asked me a question about these Pitot tubes and such, because he was looking through his box and he said, well, wait a minute, I thought these parts are metal. And because I made a suggestion or a comment actually when I said I want to wait to put these on later because I'll end up knocking them off because they're plastic. Well, they're not. They're actually metal. And when I was digging through my box, you're right. These are metal. These Pitot tubes. This one here came from Tamiya. Comes in the box, and it's metal. I just assumed they were plastic because that's my aftermarket one. It's metal. However, in this set, you get those little ones that go on the side of the nose cone, right there. Now, the nose cone has them molded in, which we'll get into when I start working on the nose cone. They're plastic. Now, I do have the Academy F-16 coming, so I can't say whether those are metal or not. So this might come in handy at a later date, but that's great. So the Tamiya one does come with metal Pitot tubes. Now also too, I made a comment about how there's the metal antennas, or I don't know if they're antennas or static dischargers. Right here, they're metal too. However, the ones I have coming, they kind of taper in, as where the ones that Tamiya give you are just look like little metal bars. So I don't think I'll be using these ones. They're great that they're metal though. That's kind of cool. But the ones I have coming are a little more accurate. So, but thank you, Kel, for pointing that out. I should have looked through the box a little more thoroughly. But in the instructions, I just assumed that these might have been for the flaps. But I probably would have noticed this, I guess, later on. But I might have led you guys astray into ordering maybe some of these. And you might not have needed to. I guess you would have for those little guys there, but not so much for the Pitot tube. So sorry about that, guys. But we might need that other set for the Academy F-16. But anyway, thanks, Cal, for pointing that out. Live and learn, I guess. Anyway, let's move along to what we've done since the last video here. So the instructions call for when you install this whole top piece to do it as in one piece. So basically, you're taking this half, attaching that to this half, and then installing it in one piece. I didn't like doing that, and I actually had no intentions of doing that whatsoever, just because there is actually some fit issue with this. And what I mean is, when you're installing a piece this large, it doesn't line up quite well, and I found that it was putting a lot of stress on this part right here, and I didn't like that. So I thought, you know what, let's put this on at a later date, which I have to anyway, because if I tried to install this now, there's no way I'd be able to do the cockpit. And I thought, because there is so much stress with this, it was actually kind of bowing to the side a bit. And even though if I did it right now, even say I had the cockpit all done right now, and I tried to install this as one piece, it would still put too much stress on. So I thought, you know what? No, let's do this now. That way it'll just keep the stress on the screws for what this piece has the stress on, if that makes sense. I'm trying to explain this the best way I know how, because I want to keep the tension on the screws for this piece. And then whatever tension there will be for this piece will just be on this piece, if that makes any sense. So that's that. So I have this, happily sitting there, and that was the result. Now, obviously, there's going to be some detail going into there. This tail here is not permanently set. As you can see, there's a gap here. I just didn't want to to permanently set it down too far because I'm going to have to lift this in and out. I just wanted to show you what it looks like with the tail on because we've seen it so many times, you know, without the tail sitting on there. Now, obviously, the screws are hidden from underneath now because I have, you know, the underside of the wings glued on now. Now, other things too, this kit has options is for when you do put the nose together, you can decide whether you want these antennas on or off. Now, I decided to go with them on. That's the one I decided to go with. Just because you see, you know, obviously the box art even shows you with them off. So obviously I went the other way and decided to go with it like that. Again, it's your choice what you wanted to go with. And then since the last video, I went ahead and painted, you know, the underside pieces like there. So, you know, obviously this is all painted up now. So I'm going to go ahead and just take... That's another thing too, actually, just quickly. This kit actually has a weight in the nose section that you can install when you install the cockpit, which we'll get into, but you may not need it at this point because by the time we get the cockpit and everything installed and the nose piece and this piece, because we're not installing the engine, it may not be necessary to install that weight. So that's another thing you can decide too. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. And there's the underside detail. Now obviously the empty space that you see right there, those empty holes, there's two poly caps on the inside of that to accommodate for those pylons right there. And then those pylons will hold the fuel tanks. But I'm not putting those in just yet because I haven't built the tanks yet. And then there's the pylons right there, which you paint separately and then put them on. That's probably the best way of doing it. And those pylons will just sit empty because, again, this is undergoing maintenance, this plane. So there we go. It's all coming together. Now also too, if you look at the landing gear, I actually went ahead and put some black thread there to simulate the wires. And that's just to dress up the landing gear a bit more, and it is accurate to the real thing. Otherwise, it's just too much white. So that finishes off the landing gear a bit right there too. Makes it look a little bit more accurate. I think there was a lot of videos just on the landing gear itself, right? So there's a bit more detail, obviously, to go into the wings, right? We got the flaps to go on there, and obviously the tail is going to have some more work done to it. Right, we got some work here, and then obviously that needs to be painted, and then obviously some light detail, not real lights, but just obviously the mimic lights and things like that. And then we're going to continue on working. I think that pretty much covers it all from what we've done last. I'm not too sure. I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, I've been sitting on this desk for many hours anyway. I think that should about cover it there, guys. I'm trying to think what else I've done. I mean, many hours sitting here, and then you try to sum it all up in about 10 minutes or less. So, yeah, I think that should about cover it for this video anyhow. If you have any questions or comments, yeah, just please leave it there, and I'll do my best to answer them. But it's coming along pretty good. I think in the next couple of videos, it'll be pretty much wrapped up for the plane build anyway. And then we can start working on the diorama itself, and that'll be a lot of fun too. So thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, and definitely hit that like button. Helps the channel grow. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.